Hey, welcome back. I ended up spending about 2.5 hours working on that workhead spindle, but the results are well worth it. Let's have a look at what you can do with your hands. Okay. Now, what I did is I used these spoon type scrapers, and if you look down them, they are hollow ground, kind of curved in there. Okay, so you sharpen them on the sides here, and I will sharpen these things because I used them quite a bit here. But let's look at the results. I did have 1/1000th run out right here with the spindle. A little bit of damage to it. It's got some corrosion, and it's got knocked around in there. And I haven't used this end. I just basically on that end is where I have my closer here for the 5C collets is stuck in this end. Okay. So I was having 1/1000th run out here, and I used this shank here that I cut the collet chuck off of because it was bent, and but the shank's good. And I put the Prussian blue on it, down the high spots, scraped them down, and this is the results. Now this is 8 inches out from the spindle face. And let's see here. Hopefully I don't get the wrong kind of glare on that. Let's just rotate that. I'll show you that it does work. Okay. How much run out have we got? Each tick mark is 1/2,000th. And it looks to me like I got maybe 1/2,000th. I think I was leaning on it a little bit there. I'm going to say 2/10 of 1/1000th run out on a 3/8 end mill in an Erickson extension collet chuck that's in a ER40 collet chuck that's inserted into this precision spindle of the Cincinatti workhead, which has a pair of type 0 bearings in it, Timken type 0 bearings. And this is about as precision as you can get right here. And that is extremely satisfactory. Could actually grind that end mill 8 inches out. 80-year-old machine. How about that, huh? This shank here, I like to be able to mix the tooling up so I can use it on the other machines. And let's get over here. Now, this collet chuck here, get this junk out of here. This collet chuck, I cut the nose off of it because it was bent. I couldn't get it to run true. I probably could have ground it true, but these collet chucks aren't worth very much nowadays. So what I've done is I've got often have that one of those Bowstar 5C collet chucks in here, but I got the 3-jaw chuck on, and I can stick what's left of that ER40 in there and get it running true because this is an adjust true chuck, and then put parts in here. And I actually got a small Erickson extension here on dialing in, so I could put really tiny parts. But it's kind of hard to get the spindle up to the jaws here, so this will be kind of nice for you know, like putting a hex on small parts and things like that. Now I got to this part here that I cut off. I'm going to take some pieces like this and modify them and thread that and drop that in there and thread it so I can adapt my boring heads into the 50 spindle, and that includes the tree head and my 5-inch wall hopper head. So I've got quite a few things to do to finish adapting, and I've got some mechanical things to do on the knee on this machine. And I'm actually getting close to completing this junkyard machine I got for 500 bucks. I got 500 hours in. So that's happening. Wrapping it up. Really nice. And even though, you know, the machine, it needs a little bit of electrical and needs some work on the knee, it is producing really nice work for me. Plus or minus 1/1000th of an inch, which I think, just using the dials, I don't have a DRO on it or anything. And that's just fantastic. It's just, I can do an awful lot with the machine. And I'll tell you, on these old machines, if you can find a vertical attachment with quill feed, that is just totally makes the machine so much more versatile, because you can tilt the head and have that little bit of feed to do all kinds of stuff. So that is really, really nice. Okay, and I got more to do on the spindle bearings. I still have the manuals out here. I can expand a little bit on the information and poke around and see what other information I can come up with. I've got other catalogs and stuff stuck away. And I've got quite a bit of information on dealing with paired up Timken bearings too. And that's quite handy. So I'm glad you enjoy tuning in and you like some of these old technical methods that I've learned from people long gone. And I hope some of you pick some of this up and find it very useful. And the bearing information alone will make you an ace mechanic. Okay, I will be back pretty soon. Maybe in this video here, I'll see if I can't set up and do a quick grind on the on those internal scrapers. Okay, back with that, I think. Okay, I'm going to show how to sharpen, or how I sharpen these internal scrapers. And this is an antique one here that I found at the local antique store, and it hadn't been ground before. So I'm gonna grind the edge here, and I'm gonna hollow grind it with a straight wheel. If I put a cup wheel on it, it would flat grind it. So this is gonna put a little bit of slight radius in there. And also, I've dropped the rest below the center of the wheel, and that'll give clearance. It's called the drop method of gaining clearance. Okay, so dropping that down will give that clearance. And I'm going to run the wheel backwards so it doesn't tend to suck the tool in. Okay, so you'll see the sparks coming up, and I'm going to start working this tool. Okay, let me get around here. It is a tight fit. I have to get around a tripod and all this. But it's fun. Okay, I'm gonna get the wheel going in the normal direction first. And I've got a Norbide dressing stick here. And I'm gonna dress that wheel with a flat face. And what that'll do, this is a coarse wheel, that'll help it grind just a little bit finer. I'm going to touch those edges. Okay. So let that coast down. Okay, to grind something like this, you have to do it by hand. And it's not that hard. Now slow that down here and kick her backwards. There we go. Okay, I'm going to start working this edge here. I'm going to give this quite a bit more cutting clearance. I want a more aggressive scraper. Get in there. Just almost. A little bit more. Tiny bit more. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to have to grind it this way. I don't think I have quite enough room. We'll give it a shot. Just a little bit more. Got a few nicks in there. I'll grind them out and call it good. Okay, so I'm taking hardness with a stone. Okay. Okay, back here once again. I refined the edge a little bit with a soft Arkansas stone. Okay. And it's just got a very, very nice edge. Now, to recap, now I got that clearance by the drop method. I dropped the rest below the center of the wheel, and I ran it by like that, and that gave it that cutting clearance, okay? Just like that. Now, if you that's hollow grinding it with a straight wheel, with the drop method. Now, if you wanted to grind this flat, then you'd use the cup wheel or a dish wheel, and then you would present the edge to it with an angled rest. Okay, but hollow grinding makes it easy to get it really sharp kind of quickly. I kind of like hollow ground stuff for that reason, but it doesn't matter that much. If you flat grind it, you tend to kind of daub the edges easier, but it's just all in that feel, like you're scraping molecules off that stump. Okay, let's go over here. And I got a piece of hard bronze here in this vise. And let's see if I can scrape on it with one hand. This thing's pretty sharp. Now, a tool like this is really handy if you were, had a shaft going through this and it had a little bit of bind. you could put some dye on here or dye on the shaft. A lot of times it's best to put the dye on here. And then where the dye rubs off, you can just work it down. Or the dye on the shaft will leave a little bit of the Prussian blue. And sometimes ink from a Sharpie works pretty good. But you can fudge stuff in with one of these tools. If you have something that's not lining up, even if it's small, you can make a smaller version of this. Okay? So I can get it pretty smooth, just working it, or I can really dig it in. But this is some really hard bearing bronze. But it cuts it. Okay. I'll look over here for a minute. I got this manual from a local guy here that did plastic molds. I don't know if he's still in business. Everybody's getting pretty old. And it's got the, actually two manuals. There's the, a bunch of stuff there I wrote years and years ago. This is the style I have here with the non-tilting workhead. And so this here is where you'd use the drop method for clearance on cutters. And a hollow ground edge on an end mill is like really sharp, but not quite as strong as a flat ground flute. And because of that little bit of hollow, kind of weakens the edge a little bit. But it depends what you're doing and all that. Here's all the parts and all that. Oh, some of this stuff's in there upside down. There's a manual for the tilt head one too. And this is, kind of an earlier version of the tilt head, I think. Some of these photos. And they kind of changed them once they went to this. One of the interesting things about these old manuals, it says in here that, the tilt head superseded the other grinder, but the other grinder is good to have for different things, So the ideal setup is to have an old grinder like this, a tilt head grinder, and a monoset grinder for grinding radiuses. And if I ever get enough room, which I might, I would like to add to this grinding, tool grinding, and get something like a monoset or a Pratt & Whitney OK type radius grinding. Okay, it shows a bunch of stuff. You can really grind some really large cutters and all that. So anyway, I will be back, and this is really quite a complete deal. I don't know the availability of this information these days, but I have the it's quite a lot here of pages. So, okay, I will be back. Bye.